Okay, so this is our research primary school. But before I start, we always like to acknowledge the lands of the Wurundjeri people and acknowledge them as the traditional owners of the place where this building is, and we pay our respects to them. And also to say that it's the project's not just me, it's the whole practice, and also our consultants and particularly on this one, our landscape person, Simon. So it's a collaboration. Okay, so projects for the Victorian School Building Authority are usually constrained by meagre budgets, extremely tight design parameters, and a highly bureaucratised process. At Research Primary School, we had a steeply sloping and treed site, beautiful trees, and there were other additional issues to be resolved. Difficult access, extremely dilapidated facilities, and the VSBA had a massive anxiety about that it was really quite a major over-entitlement of buildings. So the school had declined to under 150 students, which is the reason why it was given modernisation funding, actually, because they needed to turn around. It was really going south. So the project thus involved the demolition of numerous buildings that had well exceeded their anticipated lifespan, but the loss of this nevertheless caused an enormous amount of distress to the school and the community. And the work that we ended up doing after our AMP2 process was refurbishment of a classroom block, which is this one here, into an administration and art centre, and a new building, which is here, and site works, which encompassed all of the front of the site on Main Road in research. Also, this was dealing with lots of problems with stormwater, erosion, and a really dilapidated and degraded site. So we sought to make a new and impactful gesture that could gather the school together physically and psychologically and ensure a sense that a positive and exciting change had occurred. And we identified the main problems of the campus as a lack of urban identity. There was no sense of address, or of how to enter the school or even to move around it, as well as a disparate and disconnected collection of buildings, which really watered down the sense of a unified campus. Our approach consisted of several parts. We worked very closely with Simon Ellis on the landscape. We established legible and DDA compliant paths in and around the campus, which was an extremely difficult job on this steeply sloping ground. And we established a visible and welcoming entrance to the school and proposed a characterful new building to clearly express the school's importance to the local community. I put this one in because it shows the sort of general scope of what we were doing. We started the building to form defined external areas, a contained central playing area, which is here, and learning space with direct access to these teaching spaces through here and into the art room here. And most critically, and out here, a new play area for the infants. And most critically, a central quadrangle with a broad veranda to give the school something it had never had, which is a centre. So that's this space here. So there was actually no place where everyone could gather in school in the same place. So this has made a major change to the way the school can actually operate. The building parts, This urban design response is elevated by the expression of the architecture and the landscape design, the decisions we made around materiality and detail. The architectural interventions elevate the relationship between built form and the landscape. The edges are permeable, all these doors here move back, slide back, and direct access to an active play area to the north and the south veranda area facing a new quadrangle gathering space. The building parts are pulled apart and separated by generous boardwalks, emphasising connection to the landscape whilst providing protection and comfort. And this was an important part for us because it's in Research, which is a bush suburb, and presumably the people that live there because they like that. And so we wanted to really celebrate those things. We wanted to make as much external circulation as we could, and also really engage with the significant trees on the site and out of the site. The building is clad in durable fire-resistant timber, as it is in a bell zone. a material which resonates with the bush aesthetic of the area, is comfortingly non-institutional and low maintenance and sustainable. And the interior balances a muted background palette drawn from ubiquitous eucalypts, where you see a lot of red and green in eucalypts, tempered by intense and energising colour, which is so beloved by children and some adults. So we were really conscious of the colour scheme, which seems like a fairly sort of banal thing to focus on, but with education projects at the VSBA, your palette is so limited. And so it really is one of the tests of doing these projects is working with what you can to make something impactful, and colour is a really good way to do that, and the way of mixing colour and pattern. So we were really conscious of that. We really wanted an energising colour scheme because kids love colour, and some adults, but also we wanted to really respond to the environment around them as well, the bush around us. So that was another thing. Yeah, sure, thank you. In terms of landscape, large and beautiful trees were preserved. DDA compliant paths were established in a sweeping arc, which incorporated extensive planting and rock placement. And as with the architecture, the aesthetic directions of this approach demonstrate a close understanding of the bush-like qualities of research. The aim always being to resonate with the community and draw on the particular qualities that drew them to live in this beautiful bush place. So this is what we had. You can see how degraded the site was. And that's their best building, so we've kept that. The reason why we put the infants in the new building, there, is because it's about enrolments for this school too. They're wanting to increase enrolments, so the new building, the new classroom building, that's the existing one there where we put admin and art. This is the new one here. We put all the prep 1s and 2s in here because this is the way to bring a new cohort into the school and build enrolments at a time. So that's why the school was really insistent, great principal, great people to work with, that the kids got the new building rather than the admin and art. So you can see this is the new presence on Main Road Research, which is fairly austere and simple, but kind of playful, and it really makes a statement. It's a campus which is designed to sit in a landscape. So Simon's beautiful nuanced landscapes do take time, but I think in a few years this will really transform. This is a magnificent tree we got to work around. A lot of rock placement, Simon did all of that. This is our central gathering place with a verandah which opens into those infants' rooms. This is the termination of one of those boardwalks. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is dealing with within the VSBA's rules, trying to make them more poetic, so stretching the balustrades, using their industrial materials in clever and innovative ways. Yeah. Thank you.
How did you manage to get timber cladding through?
Oh, no, Bruno and everything. With Bruno as our project officer. Well, it was allowed at the time, but it is not now.
Right.
So we still had to put forward a pretty full-on argument, but actually it meets all of the performance requirements that the VQH has. It's bushfire resistant, and we just said, look, this is actually what this is what will live in this community. So it was accepted, and we gave them extensive data on the low maintenance qualities of timber. It is treated. There has an initial treatment, but actually this timber, because of the dimension of it, it's spotted gum. Because of the dimension and the way it's treated, actually it's very low maintenance. It will require no more work now for, 20 years, the life of the school, really. So we got it through. I don't think we could get it through now, which is a real shame. And in fact, Bruno made us substitute the decking to funny plastic decking at the last minute because it didn't pass the wet pendulum test, which has nothing to do with its slip resistance. It's to do with the fact that it doesn't have a testing regime because God didn't provide one. Sorry, it's a long answer to it.
No, I agree. That's what I was enamored with straight away. Is it does feel very sophisticated, but I can clearly see how you've been on the budget train that these schools have been on. So it looks fantastic. I mean, one of my questions is more about how do you feel like you extended through the program? It's very tightly regimented, these VSBA programs. How do you feel like you extended it or innovated in what is a tight set of parameters?
Well, I think the innovation comes down to, it's the site planning really, because it's actually, the school is a mess of buildings that can connect to each other. So we actually have made, by the placement of the buildings and the landscape and the big arc of the DDE path, it actually has made a campus, it's made spaces. So, the classrooms are, there's no renovation there. There's really nice things that lots of people do inside and outside and so on, but it's really about the placement of the buildings on the site and a master plan which will eventually draw the whole site together if it works and the enrolments increase. Okay, well done.